Yo, bienvenue dans Bboy Knowledge épisode 8, partie 2, Bgirl Evolution. Nous voici donc dans la deuxième partie de nos investigations sur les Bgirls. Radio et moi avons préféré diviser cet épisode en plusieurs parties, afin de ne pas faire des parties d'une heure ou d'une heure et demie. Dans la première partie, nous avons fait plusieurs interviews de Bgirl. Dans l'épisode d'aujourd'hui, nous avons interviewé une pionnière, puisqu'il s'agit de Bgirl Bubble, la première Bgirl d'Angleterre. En tout cas, c'est comme ça que les médias l'appellent. Même si plusieurs Bgirls devaient exister dans la même période, c'est bien la première Bgirl à avoir un si haut niveau de break et à se faire connaître avec son groupe Bboy, qui s'est plus tard rebaptisé Bboy. C'est également elle qui, avec son groupe, s'est fait sponsoriser par les plus grandes marques de sport, Kappa, Puma, Pony, et a également joué dans la célèbre vidéo Electro Rock. Pour le reste, je vous laisse la découvrir dans son interview. Une troisième et dernière partie sera consacrée à Nasser Aguera, Bgirl Hurricane, qui à travers nos questions nous donnera sa vision du milieu b-boying en France et ailleurs. Donc un grand merci à Anifa, aka Bgirl Bubble, de nous avoir accordé cette interview et de nous avoir aussi également envoyé des photos personnelles de l'époque, ainsi qu'à Radio qui s'est chargé de toute la traduction et les voix off. Dédicace à War is the Warrior, sans qui jamais j'aurais pu faire cette interview. C'est lui qui m'a fait connaître ce groupe, cette Bgirl et son identité sur Facebook. Et pour finir, un gros merci à Funkytronics pour son coup de pouce. Alors enjoy it, c'est parti.
You were one of the first B-girls in the 80s, and you were part of a group called the B-Boys. What was it like for you at the time? How were you seen and perceived by the people around you as a B-girl?
I started about 81. I started B-boying. Back then I was only 10 years old, 10, 11. So for me back then it was almost as though I was part of the boys, because it all started in my home, in my backyard, because my brothers, they were the B-boys. So back then they used to practice b-boying in the front room and the back garden and things like that, and I used to just sit and watch them do it. So when they used to go out to the clubs, I used to try and do it myself, because I couldn't go to the clubs because I wasn't old enough. So when they used to go out to the clubs, I used to be home and practice and try the moves. And one day they came home and they saw me doing it in the front room, and they was like, wow, what you doing? And I was doing the CCs, I was doing CC and doing the 6-step, and they came in and saw me. They caught me in the front room. I pushed all the tables to the side, and they was like, wow, do that again, show us what you can do. And it started from then. And then they took me down to one of the youth centers where a lot of the people down there were doing b-boying. So they took me down there, and I was wearing my little skirt, and I was dressed like a typical little girl, a typical 11-year-old. And they said like, hold on, this is our little sister. Let her show her, give her some space, and let her show you what she can do. And so they told me to go in a circle and do something, and I did what I showed my brothers, and then everybody just went crazy. It's like everybody just went wild. I didn't understand what was going on. But from then it started. So they started to take me around to clubs with them, and sometimes people didn't realize I was a girl because I was wearing tracksuits, so they thought I was brothers, because I come from a family of predominantly males, 8 brothers, and I would just fit in with them just like one of the little boys, because I would wear their tracksuits, or so I just fitted in. There wasn't no questions. I think people in my area knew I was a girl, but when I went outside the area, like to London or Manchester, outside the city, they realized then I was a girl. But they embraced me only because they thought I was a boy, to be honest with you, and that's what I think it was. So yeah, back then I was accepted. It was easy for me to fit in. Being in the crew was nothing, because the crew started off with my brothers. They were the founding members of the B-Boys, and then later on we called the crew the Wolverhampton B-Boys, because we didn't realize that B-Boys was actually the name of the dance. We just used the name because my uncles gave them the name B-Boys. So that's how it happened, basically. All right, so that's that's the best I could answer that question. All right.
You were in electro rock. What memories do you have of that experience?
Yeah, I remember, to take you back, I remember going for the audition, because we had to go for an audition. And when we went for the audition, my brothers, two members of my brothers, they left the crew, you know. And it resulted to me and Birdie, who was the other brother, he remained. So the two of us, we recruited other members. And at that time, there was an audition going out for a UK movie called Electro Rock. Excuse me. So we went for an audition, and we got through. I must have been about 14 years old, or something like that. And basically, my mother, she was a manager, and all I remember is that one day we got a message that we got through to the audition, and then we're going to be in the shooting for the film. So we went down to London, Hippodrome, and we did the shooting for the day. And I remember being a B-girl back then, it was all very much shocking to everybody. I mean, like, there was always crowds staring at me, people walking around me, and you know, my brothers always make sure I was secured and safe, and you know, they would always, you know, make sure, you know, I'm safe with them, you know. And basically, for the shooting of Electro Rock, you know, there's a saying when they say, "Hey, check the one in the red, it's a girl." You know, on the night they didn't say that because they didn't know I was a girl. People was wondering why was I wearing a red tracksuit. So a lot of people couldn't understand why I was wearing a red tracksuit, you know. And back then, you know, there wasn't many B-girls around, you know, B-boying on that level back then. So for me to come from out of London City and come to London, which is the capital, and, you know, B-boying on that level, I did, you know, it was shocking for the Londoners, for everybody, really. Even so, you know, for me, I didn't really give the best of my performance because being tired, nerves, and, you know, traveling so far and, you know, to go and perform. So, yeah, at the time, you know, it was a good show. We only filmed for the one day and that was it, and we went back home. And I'm trying to tell you it short because if I was to tell you the whole full story, it would take you a long time because they put all the London crews downstairs and they put people from outside London. So there's a bit of some segregation issues going on. Back then there was rivalries about London B-boys were better than the B-boys from outside London. So there was a big battle at the end of the day, you know, at the end of the night, you know, and that was shown on the video. But, you know, coming back to my experience there, it was my first experience. I really enjoyed it. At the time, we were sponsored by Kappa, Pony, and Australia, and I was given the red Kappa tracksuit because that was to promote the Olympics at the time, which was in 1985. So I had the Olympic tracksuit for the American track and field Olympians. So I was promoting that tracksuit for the US Olympics, you know, and I was quite honored to do that for Electro Rock. But it's only later on I realized why I was promoting the tracksuits at the time. If you do a search on the US Olympics, you see like Carl Lewis wearing the same tracksuits and some of the other Olympian champions from the USA wearing the same Kappa, you know. So I was granted that blessing to promote Kappa for the American track and field team. Yeah. So I think that's the best I can. I remember you saying that my windmills was exceptional. I mean, like, back then, I just loved doing all these power moves. Everything was for the power moves. And because I've always been with my brothers, you know, I was inspired by all my brothers. So all my brothers, I have a piece of them in me. So they would like, you know, when my brothers play football, I go and play football. If they play cricket, I play cricket. If they play all these games, I play with them. I was like the tomboy. So I had to be on their level for everything. So, you know, so my windmills was very much inspired by my brothers, you know, yeah.
How does it feel to have been named the best performer in electro rock by Polydor Records and James Street Entertainment?
Yeah, I mean, back then what happened, after the shooting and the production was put together, they nominated our crew as the best performers, best dressed, the best girl, the best all-rounder to do the tour. So we had to do the electro rock tour because we was nominated for all this. So where I came in as like being the best B-girl is like more being the best female performer for James Street. So James, he and his obviously his team, his production team, actually agreed that we go and do the tour because we had the whole package deal. So that's how it was. But back then we don't think about being nominated the best or being it's only now we think about these things. Back then we just danced. It wasn't anything, because you have to remember we were kids. We're 15-year-olds. We go to school and come home. To us it was nothing. It was just like, okay, so we've been nominated, we're going to do a tour. My mother said, yeah, we're going to do a tour on such a date, get your tracksuits ready, get them washed. And I used to wash the tracksuit, wash my brothers and iron them and things like this. And we just used to take it as it comes. It was nothing for us to look back and think, wow, we've been nominated as the best. It wasn't like that, because at the end of the day, we had to go to school. We had to go home, do homework. In our homes, we lived just like a normal family. So it wasn't anything that we thought about. And like I said, it's only now, since all these years, people are reflecting back and asking these kind of questions. And it's only now I'm talking about these things, really. So for us, it wasn't anything to be proud of back then, because all we did was dance. To us, it's just dancing. It was nothing to us. We didn't see it as anything like anything as a celebrity star kind of thing. It was just something that you just did, and that was it. So yeah, the nominee was appreciated. The tour, that's when you saw us on the BBC on these TV shows promoting electro rock. We done a UK tour, so we toured around the whole UK promoting it. Yeah.
You were featured in the book We Bgirls and in the documentary Redder Than Red. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience, your thoughts, feelings about that book and that documentary?
Coming back to Martha Cooper and Nika Kramer, I met them in 2005 in Rotterdam, and that was the first time I met them. I've always had respect for Martha Cooper because of her historical and legacy in terms of her photography work and promoting the graffiti movement. It so happened that a friend of mine called Karin, she messaged me and said that there's going to be a B-Girl book and she thinks I should be in it, and I need to contact this number or email this person. So I emailed Nika, and it just so happened that they heard of me, but they couldn't find me. Because back then I didn't really make contact with many people. I just, got on with my life. I had my child and settled, in my family life, career life, and what have you. So I just went ahead and met Martha and Nika in Rotterdam. And it started there. And the more they learnt about my history, my background in Bgirling, and where I'm coming from, they really appreciated my history, my background, as being one of the pioneers. They looked at the fact that the level I took B-boying and the status of B-boying at the time in the UK was very much growing again. This is in the late 90s, and quite a few more B-girls came up, and they were calling my name and mentioning Hanifa, B-girl Bubbles, and so they really wanted to get hold of me. So when I did message them, they were very happy and pleased, and they invited me along to Rotterdam to do some filming shooting for the book. And then shortly after, they saw me B-boying and getting down after so many years. I was all stiff and rusty. they decided that they want to do a short documentary on me to complement the book. So the launch of the book, it was complemented with the video, which we was hoping to get it to like a 1 hour documentary, but it didn't happen, and the documentary was told all over the world. So I was told Japan and Germany, France, Holland, America, so it was played quite a lot of places, and a lot of people really enjoyed it. In fact, just a few days ago, some people was asking me what's happening with the documentary. Isn't it going to be finished? I need a documentary out now to start promoting Artbreaker, and to include my history today in terms of Bgirling, where I've took Bgirling and the level Bgirling is at today, and where I come in to put that seal on Bgirling with the Artbreaker concept. So really and truly, looking back at the whole of my life as a Bgirl, I would say that I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would like to go back in time again to being a 16-year-old, because that was when I was at my peak. That was when I was ripping those windmills around 15, 16, drilling those head spins and, busting these crazy freezes and top rocks. So, I really enjoyed the years. If I could live it all again, definitely I would. The little energy I have left in Bgirling, I use that now for B-Boy art, and Artbreaker, the project. And I just hope that the B-Girls in the future can really look forward in growing the dance and enjoying the experiment of the dance. This is something that that really needs to be pushed out to the B-Girl world, to enjoy the dance, because I've broken down the barriers for you all already, and it's almost as though when I speak to some of the new up and coming B-Girls and they've broken down to me what I've done for them, it's only now I'm realizing what I have done. I never really looked at myself as a pioneering or iconic or a legendary figure. I'm just Hanifa. I'm just an old school B-Girl who has enjoyed my time and still enjoy it today, through Artbreaker, and I'm just hoping that that the future of Bgirling will reign supreme. And really and truly, I think the B-Girls out there is doing a phenomenal job. They're doing some exceedingly good moves and dances, to the point that I almost wish I was as fit as them again, to start B-boying and dancing again. But like I said, I do it all in the art form now. I do it in my own time, in my own space. And and I'm gonna say this because people always ask me this question: what advice would I give the B-Girls out there today? The best advice I can give you, in all honesty, is to get yourself a career. Study and get a profession. Be a doctor, be a nurse, be a social worker, psychologist, teacher, social worker, whatever. Just put dancing to the side for at least 2 or 3 years and study and get a career, get a profession. Because I studied for my profession in my late 20s, early 30s. I went out and done nursing studies, and it was a struggle. And I think back then, if I was given the correct advice from people, I probably would have went out and studied first, then do the B-boying, but I did it the other way around. So my advice to many of the B-Girls out there, study, get yourself a career, make sure you get your credentials, your paperwork in place, get a career that you can travel the whole world and work anywhere, okay? And then enjoy the dance as much as you want. And that's just what I'm doing now. I can dance in my own time now. and do b-boy art and enjoy it. And that's the best advice I can give you all. Yeah. And as well as that, take care of your health, you know, the physical health for women. We have our hormonal changes. We have our cycles, our menstrual flow. There's a time where our body will change, like after childbirth. These things are a struggle for us to maintain, because part of our body structure is it was groomed for b-boying, and then when you get pregnant and you have babies, it's changed to comfort the baby, the child, the growth of the child. And then after delivery, you have to deal with all that. And it's a big change for a lot of sisters out there, for women to deal with. So take care of your physical health and your mental health, you know. And basically, that's all I have to say.
Can you tell us about your painting, your amazing approach to painting using dance?
The concept on the breaking technique. The concept is basically b-boying on canvas, or b-boying on boards, or b-boying on cards, you know. So the concept is basically using your b-boy skills and expressing it on canvas or on a card or a board or something. And it's just a way to provide your signature, to say that you had been a b-girl, you had pioneered, you had succeeded, you had, you know, you had lived. So in the future, people would see your b-boy moves or your b-boy signature on canvas. You know, that's the whole idea. The concept about art breaker, as I call it, is that with your b-boy skills and your b-boy techniques, you would create art pieces giving a description of movement and the feeling of the movement. So your expression through the music, the feel of the music, the color of the paint will show your expression, your feelings, your emotions all on one piece. So there'll be times where, depending how I'm feeling, I would use bright colors. You know, if I'm feeling good, I like to use bright red, bright yellow colors, or, you know, that's what I do. I use Adidas trainers, which is the shell toes, for the imprints. I mean, like I have my Converse here as well, and other, you know, brands of shoes, but for now, I've just been using the Adidas, you know, for experimental purpose. So so that's the concept about art breaker. You know, the technique you use is mainly foundation technique. So you're doing a lot of top rocks, footwork, and a lot of you know, 6-step, like the 6-step moves. Yeah. Very rare I use backspins or windmills or anything like that, you know. So those are the techniques I use to create my pieces. What it is with art breaker is that you know, it's a way of showing your appreciation of your history, you know. So the fact is that when I'm dead and gone, you know, my footwork will still be here for people to look at. Not only on YouTube or in videos, but also in art. So that's the idea of sharing artwork with the whole, you know, b-boy community, b-boy, b-girl community, and let them know that, you know, this is something for the future for us to use. So, you know, I've been getting a lot of people sending me messages about using art breaker and doing art breaker, which I do appreciate, you know, and I like them to use this art form, you know, to share it with people, share it with the pioneers, share it with people coming up, you know, do the dance, you know, do the artwork, do everything, you know. So it's something that I like to, you know, promote and launch for the b-boy and the b-girl community, for all communities, you know. And that's the whole concept behind Art Breaker. And Timothy, Dana, and your team, you know, thank you very much for inviting me along to be part of this documentary. I wish you all the success, and I hope this interview makes sense. God bless and good night.
Alors, vous avez kiffé cette vidéo? Alors, abonnez-vous, likez, partagez, commentez. Retrouvez-moi sur la page Facebook de Fresh Skills France ou sur ma chaîne YouTube Basteo, B-A-S-T-E-O. Et oublie pas, il faut savoir d'où tu viens pour savoir qui tu es et où tu vas. Peace!